All right, the Raiders suffer a week 1 loss, but now they've got a chance to kind of really figure out the season, right? From week 1 to week 2, we'll see what they got. If you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but we have this channel talking about teams and stories that just don't get the love nationally like they should. And the Raiders now really kind of being like laughed at, really. And it's like, I don't think that's fair just yet. And I'm going to tell you why there's still reason to have hope. And they signed 2 new players. Now, this happened a couple days ago. I get it. But the more that you kind of look at it, the more it's like, I kind of like this. So let's talk about them, and then we'll look at some keys to victory. And you can see that this is a chance to get back on the winning side of things, be 1-1, feel good about yourself, beat a really good team, and the season's not lost. Or you get blown out and the season's lost. I don't know, but let's take a look at it. First thing is you sign a defensive end and a corner. Chasen is a guy that's really special, and I'm curious to see what happens with him. But he's a defensive end. He's on the practice squad. Both these guys are, so we take a little bit of time. But Kelly is really interesting to me. Let's go down here and look at Kelly. So he was drafted originally in the 5th round by the Ravens in the 23 draft. And since then, he spent time with Seahawks, Packers, and Washington Commanders. He's appeared in 8 games, 5 tackles. He's a native of Las Vegas. Love it, love it, love it. All those things, right? But what's interesting to me is obviously it's not the best situation if you've bounced around team to team. But the good news is you want somebody with some playing experience, yet still young enough that you could mold. So what this shows me, these couple moves, is that the Raiders aren't going to just sit around and be like, well, it looks like season's over. It's like, no, we're going to start finding guys, move guys in. We're not going to sit back and just hope for the best. Instead, we're going to make some things happen. So I love these 2 signings. So these 2 signings, keep an eye on them. Again, they're going to start on the practice squad, but now you've added some veteran. I say Kelly's a veteran. He's really not. But the defensive end is. He joins the Raiders after spending the past 4 seasons with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was originally drafted by them in the 1st round, 20th overall in 2020. So this is interesting because, again, 2020, it's weird. It's COVID. The Jags are terrible. The franchise was in shambles at this point. So no shock that maybe his career didn't get off to the start that you would have hoped for it to. But, like, let's go. I love this. I love this defensive end and think he can do some really good things. Like, there's no reason why he can't. Now, here's some hope for optimism as we kind of switch gears. So you've got a defensive end and a corner, both young, could have something there. They're starting the practice squad. The next thing is Brock Bowers really looked good. And you could just tell, like, yep, that's going to work, right? 2-time Mackey Award winner, standout at Georgia. He had 8 targets, 6 receptions, 58 yards, was lined in the slot, tight end, used all over the place. Like, it was week 1. He's a rookie with a not ideal quarterback situation. I think he's going to be fine. I think this team's going to be fine. I think this offense, again, if the quarterback doesn't play well, then, like, duh, we get it, right? And he didn't play well week 1. It's just like, I don't even know. So this has to be it. Now you have a really tough challenge. But my point is there's weapons. There's weapons out there. Obviously, we know about your star receiver. You got Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers. Like, there's no excuses for Minshew. And he has to make it happen. Otherwise, so it's not like, man, I don't know. Is there weapons? Is Minshew good? He's got to make it happen. There's weapons out there to make it happen. So if we look at this really quick, just a couple things that I loved was he's got, I don't know if you can see this one, but it's hard to see, but I'm going to rewind it. Lines up in the slot, quick slant, bigger body, 9-yard gain. It's like, what are we doing? Can we do more of that, please? I mean, against Derwin James, too, in the slot, pop. Like, you can do more of that, Minshew. I'm telling you can. So there's hope still. It's been week 1. I'm not giving up on these guys yet. Now, again, this is from an outsider's perspective as they continue to just get banged on. Like, oh, they're terrible. Season's over. It's like, no, it's not. Because if you look, we'll look at some of the keys to this game, and you can see this is manageable stuff. that the Raiders should be able to do to win? By the way, let me know in the comments. I mean, realistically, your thoughts on this game. I like this game, at least for the Raiders to cover this, but for them to outright win, I think it's a tricky little spot that I'm happy to just be like, I'm not Raiders. Everyone, we're laughed at right now. Nobody thinks we're good. Everyone thinks that Adams wants to be traded and that we're terrible. Let's go. So let me know your thoughts. Who wins this game? Score prediction down there. All right, here are kind of the takeaways from this. 5 things to watch. Contain Lamar Jackson, duh. But the good news is you have the guy to do it. And the nice thing is that you can get pressure with Max Crosby. You can cause problems with Max Crosby, so I love that. And I think containing Lamar Jackson is going to be very difficult, but he has shown that he can't just throw from the pocket. But he's so dynamic, it almost doesn't matter. But he needs to stay in there, throw from the pocket. Max Crosby's coming after him. Isaiah Likely, don't let him take over. The defense is good enough to stop him. Let's go. And now the defense went up against a Chargers team that didn't have really any weapons. So we'll find out. We'll find out some things. No turnovers. Among the reasons why the Raiders lost is the lack of ball security. They had 3 turnovers and fumbles by Minshew and Zamir White. Both it's huge. You cannot turn the ball over, especially fumbles, because passing is a different thing. You're throwing the ball. There's a lot of moving parts, but if you have the ball and you're holding it and it gets knocked out and you fumble it, you cannot have it. And so to have fumbles by 2 of your players it's just going to cost you. So cut out the turnovers and contain Lamar Jackson. I know that's not easy, but that's what we're talking about here. Give your offensive chance. Better offensive line play. The Raiders' offensive line was lacking against the Chargers. 4 sacks, had trouble converting first downs and short yardage running situations. The Raiders were bullied up front, and the Ravens, like the Chargers, have a strong defensive front. The Raiders must fix their issues on the offensive line. I mean, you could park on that forever. Yeah, offensive line, let's go. So I feel good about that. That let's see, right? Let's just see what happens. Next one, final one is feed Brock Bowers. We just showed it earlier there. If you just get the ball to him on a slant, quick out, keep it simple this game. Keep it simple. And the last thing is be aggressive. My gosh, be aggressive. When Dan Campbell took over for the Detroit Lions and they weren't good and they're trying to win, learning how to win, he went for the win. And it cost him a lot of times. It was like, we're going to lose anyway. Go for the win. Got to get wins. Big swings, and see what happens. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the next one.